My name is Trevor, and this is my story. Years ago, I never imagined I'd be building websites for a living, contributing to the digital landscape we all use every day. It seemed like a distant dream. My early days with computers were just games, endless hours spent exploring virtual worlds and mastering digital challenges. And printer problems, the bane of every household it seemed. I was always the designated tech support. Until I discovered web development. It was a turning point, a moment of clarity. The idea that I could create something from nothing, conjure entire experiences from a blank slate with code was electrifying. It sparked a fire in me, a desire to learn and build. I dove into HTML, the very foundation of the web, and CSS, learning how to style and shape the digital world. Celebrating every tiny win, each small victory fueling my motivation, like centering a div, a seemingly simple task that felt monumental at the time, or making a button work, a testament to the power of code. My first projects were rough, filled with rookie mistakes and questionable design choices, but they were mine, built with my own two hands and a whole lot of determination. And each one taught me how to break down problems, to approach challenges with a logical and methodical mindset. I spent nights building, not playing, fueled by caffeine and the thrill of creation, driven by curiosity, a relentless desire to understand how things worked. How did that animation work? Could I recreate it? These questions constantly swirled in my mind, pushing me forward. Most of the time, I failed, encountering countless errors and frustrating setbacks. But every failure taught me something new, a valuable lesson learned in the trenches of code. I learned to debug, to Google error messages, becoming fluent in the language of Stack Overflow, and to think like a developer, to approach problems with a structured and analytical mindset. It wasn't about a career yet. The thought of making money from this hadn't even crossed my mind. It was about the thrill of learning and creating, the pure joy of bringing ideas to life through code. That's how my journey began, a simple curiosity that blossomed into a full-blown passion. One line of code at a time, and it's a journey that continues to this day. Learning to code is rarely a smooth, linear journey. It's more like a bumpy ride on a dirt road, full of frustrating bugs, unexpected breakdowns, and crippling self-doubt that can creep in at any moment. Imposter syndrome hit me hard, especially when I started grappling with JavaScript. The feeling that I wasn't good enough was a constant companion. HTML and CSS were relatively simple to grasp, but JavaScript, with its asynchronous nature and complex syntax, felt like rocket science. It was a whole new level of challenge. I'd get stuck on a single problem for hours, sometimes late into the night, feeling utterly defeated and ready to quit, convinced I simply wasn't cut out for this coding thing. The frustration was intense, but despite the setbacks, I kept going, celebrating every small win, no matter how insignificant it seemed, whether it was a fixed bug or a new concept finally understood. I broke down the learning process into tiny, manageable goals, telling myself, today I'm just going to understand how a for loop works. Online communities helped me realize I wasn't alone in my struggles. It turned out everyone struggled with similar challenges. I began to understand that persistence mattered far more than innate talent. I learned the importance of stepping away from the computer, clearing my head with a walk, and returning to the problem with fresh eyes and a renewed perspective. Patience, both with the code itself and with myself, became my greatest and most valuable tool. I started viewing mistakes not as failures, but as an essential part of the learning process, the very path to real understanding. The grind was undeniably tough, requiring long hours and intense focus, but it was slowly and steadily shaping me into a real, capable developer. Every bug fixed, every challenge overcome was a significant step forward on my coding journey. Self-learning could only take me so far despite my best efforts. I knew I needed a degree to truly advance, but affording it felt impossible. Then, almost miraculously, I stumbled upon the OpenDoors scholarship. It offered a full ride to study in Russia. The only catch was that I had to prove my skills. The application process was incredibly intense. It started with a portfolio competition. I meticulously polished my projects. Then, with my heart pounding in my chest, I submitted them. Waiting for the results felt like pure torture. But somehow I managed to make it through that first stage. Next up was a really tough online exam. I studied harder than I ever had before in my life. I finished completely exhausted, and then the waiting began again. Finally, the results were in, and unbelievably, my name was actually on the winners list. I was completely stunned. All those late-night coding sessions had finally paid off in a big way. That single moment completely changed everything for me. The dream was actually real and within my reach. I'd gone from a self-taught coder working in isolation to a scholarship winner with a bright future. And now my journey was about to go global and take me to new heights. Winning the scholarship was just the beginning. The real challenge was paperwork. Endless forms, official translations, and something called an apostille. Each document had its own rules and deadlines. I spent weeks in government offices chasing signatures and stamps. Every step was stressful, a single mistake could ruin everything. Tracking documents in transit was nerve-wracking. I imagined worst-case scenarios daily. The process tested my patience and attention to detail more than any coding bug. Each corrected document brought relief, but the anxiety never fully left. I learned to navigate bureaucracy, advocate for myself, and keep moving forward. Eventually, everything was submitted one signed page at a time. The paper chase was exhausting, but it taught me resilience. After the paperwork storm, I entered a long waiting game, a period filled with anticipation and uncertainty. It felt like time stood still. No dates, just uncertainty stretching out before me like an endless road. The silence was deafening. Instead of worrying and letting the anxiety consume me, I decided to use the time constructively, starting with learning Russian. It was a language I'd always been curious about, and I decided to level up my coding skills, diving deeper into the world of programming. Language apps became my companions. Russian movies offered a glimpse into a different culture, and late-night coding sessions became my new routine, fueled by passion and a desire to improve. The waiting period transformed into my personal bootcamp, a time for intense self-improvement and skill building. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the invitation arrived, bringing with it a wave of relief and excitement. I got my visa, the official stamp that would open the door to my new adventure, packed my bags with anticipation, and landed in a new world, ready to embrace the unknown. Starting university abroad was surreal, a dream come true that I had worked so hard for. It was both exciting and intimidating, stepping into a completely new environment. Formal education filled the gaps in my knowledge, providing a structured learning environment. Living abroad taught me independence, forcing me to rely on myself and navigate unfamiliar situations. I kept building my skills, collaborating with others, and growing every day, both personally and professionally. Today, I'm a full-stack developer, working on challenging and rewarding projects. The journey was tough, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but every challenge was a valuable lesson that shaped me into who I am today. If you're waiting for your own breakthrough, feeling stuck and uncertain about the future, don't just wait passively. Use the time to grow, to learn, and to prepare for the opportunities that lie ahead. Your journey has already begun. The first steps have already been taken. Keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep growing.